Hey, welcome to the channel. We hope that you enjoy today's stories and check out the chapters on the video to see all the stories for today. But before we get into this video, subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notified when we release a new video. So let's get into the video.
What are some NSFW secrets about the military?
Experience 1. When I checked into Fort Bragg in 2011, the very first thing I was told in the in-processing brief was,
"Welcome to Fort Bragg. We have the most male-on-male R-words and sexual assaults in the nation."
the very first thing they told me. Experience 2. People be smashing. Like, all the time. Deployment wives and husbands are a thing. Also, people play a lot of ridiculous pranks and pull a lot of silly stunts. On my last deployment, we had a phantom pooper, just some guy, or girl, they never got found out, who would poop in random spaces. I had a friend who was a really dark-skinned black dude. At night, when we were only running red lights, he'd hide under the stairs to the boat locker right in front of the door to Sonar 1 and wait until someone was nearly face to face with him, and then he'd smile. All you'd see is this perfect set of red teeth, all disembodied like the Cheshire Cat. Freaked me the hell out the first time he got me with it. One time we were in pretty rough seas and the ship was rocking pretty hard. Now, on the main deck, there are only 3 hallways that run across the ship. The longest one was midship and was where our chow line was. People were sliding up and down that P-way with the rocking of the ship. It was pretty wild. What we sonar techs would do is get in our trunk, imagine an elevator shaft with a ladder that connects 4 levels, and time a jump so that when the ship crested a wave and if you timed it right you could jump up to the next room. My LPO made it like 3 floors once. If the ship has a swim call, meaning everyone can swim in the ocean while at sea, there'd be a couple of people with rifles on shark watch. If there is an ice cream social for no reason, you're going to get bad news. Except for when they finally got Bin Laden. Edit, forgot to add that I went to electronics school with a guy whose last name was Sample. So, he was literally Seaman Sample. Experience 3. A friend of mine in the Special Forces told me since they are out in the field a lot, they get plenty of ticks. And while you can inspect yourself fairly well, you can't inspect everything, so they pair up and spread their cheeks, and your mate has to stare into your anus to check you for ticks in there. Not very glamorous. Experience 4. Holy crap, I didn't realize I could have a relevant story about this. I used to serve with this super fat dude, let's call him John. John never got promoted to the National Guard because he was extremely overweight. Towards the end of his contract, he was knowledgeable, but he still couldn't pass height and weight standards, and so was a PFC, and everyone dismissed him. I was new and knew John had knowledge, so I stuck with him. One day in the field, the dude says,
"Hey man, can you do me a solid?"
and then proceeded an event in which he pulled down half his trousers and spread his fat but a bit while I checked for ticks, in the dark, with a flashlight. So, like I really had to look. Was it a mole? Dirt? Poop? No. Indeed, John had a freaking tick smack in the middle of his butt lying between 2 of the fattest butt cheeks a man could have. Edit, I hate you guys for making me remember this event, but no, I didn't remove it for him. I think either another dude did with a knife or John himself contorted his fat self into somehow removing the tick from the inside of his butt crack. We didn't have a medic on the team to remove it. Experience 5. We had female soldiers committing their own business of selling intercourse. They had a code and everything. If a girl at the coffee shop was wearing PTs and a pink PT belt, she was down to smash for money. One or more of these girls contracted a disease, and next thing you know, there was a base-wide epidemic. I still remember a commissioned doctor coming into the break area screaming,
"If I have to look at one more freaking dirty dick, I'm quitting. Screw it."
Experience 6. Swingers exist on every single base in the world. In Sigonella, they would use different boxes of detergent in the windows to show what they were into and what age range they were looking for. Patrolling the housing area became much more interesting when you saw who lives in the houses and what they're into. Experience 7. I don't know if this qualifies as NSFW or is unique to the military, but when you are required to provide a urine sample, it must be witnessed by another service member. So, on any given day, since it's random, you might be called to pee into a cup while another person stares at your junk. I once got called for urinalysis on a day when I had terrible diarrhea. The observer had to watch me poop just in case I was also able to pee in the cup. I was dehydrated, so it took a long time to finally pee. In addition to watching me poop liquid, this dude had to look at my dick 3 or 4 different times. It was a bad day for both of us. Experience 8. You don't go poo for a long time after you start basic training. Weeks. It becomes a subject of conversation with your dorm mates. Did you go number 2? Becomes a common question. Experience 9. The number of people who get sick and tired of being in the service who will go out and do some substance or another to get kicked out. During our Iraq/Afghanistan years, you wouldn't believe how many people would purposely piss hot or females would intentionally get pregnant to get out of going. Experience 10. The number of unreported injuries to doc or to command, thus leading to lifelong issues. On the other hand, if you do go to doc about an issue, you will be berated and told you are lying about an issue to get out of duty or PT. Was ignored and told I was lying about back/sciatic issues for months by document, jumped the chain of command, went to my captain, had an MRI or x-rays of my lower back, and a month later had a microdiscectomy of my L5. Damage was done, medically ineligible to re-enlist, 7 years later, and had to get a spinal fusion due to severe disc degeneration, chronic sciatic pain, and permanent nerve damage. Experience 11. I don't know how much of a secret it is, but if you're in the military or married to the military, the odds of you being cheated on sexually, or being the cheater, increase drastically compared to your civilian peers. Experience 12. Our computers don't look or function anything like they do in the movies. It takes me 15 minutes to a half hour to log into my computer, and when I do, good luck opening Outlook or anything else. This is well known amongst all service members. The worst computers I've ever used in any job. The reason this is NSFW is because the military needs to have functioning computers, and not having that can make our work literally not safe. Experience 13. If you join the military, you will be affected by self-deletion. We had 3 during training, 1 on the boat, and 1 I had to tackle in my office because he was slashing his wrists. Then you get out and it keeps happening. I've lost 8 shipmates in the last 7 years after I got out. It's nuts.
Do you like listening to these stories? Do you want to hear more of them? Then click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. And check the description for links to more videos and interesting stories.
Experience 14. We had a golden child in our unit. All the leadership loved him, especially our operations superintendent. Guys used to go to the NCO club, get drunk and crash in the airmen's rooms to avoid DUIs. So, this married guy, his wife was in our career field and in our unit, crashed into a female airman's room. She wakes up/comes to, she was drunk too, with McDude inside her going to town. They reassigned the female/victim to another team, non-standard procedure, and signaled to everyone that accusations were false/female was wrong. He got away scot-free. Wife never found out. The victim ended up getting out of the military. MD dude eventually made chief or E9. It was freaking disgusting. Yes, I spoke up, and yes, I was ignored. 2. At an NCO leadership school in a class that loves to get drunk and party. Our rooms were assigned by class, Class A, Class B, etc., so it was just our class in the long corridor. A married girl gets drunk and she's in her own room. 4 dudes are also partying with her and are also drunk. They leave 1 guy as a lookout outside her room, and the 3 guys R-worded her. She comes to realize what happened and talks to the school commandant about what happened. One of the guys admits it, the lookout. Because the girl's marriage was already shaky, she chose not to press charges. So, 3 guys got away with R-word her. It was freaking disgusting. This happened 2 days before we all graduated from a month-long leadership class. Oh yeah, one of the assaulters got a leadership away, based on academic achievement. Experience 15. Gay chicken. Not sure how prevalent it is now, but 20 years ago it was pretty common to see 2 guys kissing just to see who would blink first and pull back. Never advanced to full-on gay intercourse as far as I know, but I witnessed more than one cock getting pulled out before the other person backed down. Experience 16. I had a chick who was friends with benefits at school who grew up everywhere and nowhere. 20 minutes after first meeting her, she was hanging with my new roommate and me in our room, saying,
These clothes are uncomfortable.
And before I could even turn my head, she was naked on my bed. She had later confided in me that she started smashing soldiers on base at 13, and a lot of times it was consensual. And she said she was definitely not the only child being assaulted/R-worded. I stopped messing around with her for a long time after that and was just a good friend for her to lean on until senior year when she was still very much in therapy and we tried dating slowly. It didn't work out, but I always wish her the best. Experience 17. When my brother-in-law was in the Navy, he was assigned to an aircraft carrier. He told me that people, both men and women, would pee in the gangway. If you don't know, it's practically a hallway, or take a dump in the trash can really quick because they didn't have enough time to get to the bathrooms. He accidentally walked up on some guy and girl doing it in the corner of one of the gangways. Another time he brought his PS4 on board, and one of his roommates was playing it and he walked in on him beating off while at the strip club on GTA 5. Experience 18. I was in the Navy in the early 90s. I spent a total of a few months in the Philippines and Thailand. We were handed a box of condoms before we left the ship. Some of the things I saw: walk into a bar and have 5 to 10 girls run up to you to try to get you to pay their bar fine, rent them for the night. Walk into a massage parlor and see 30 women behind glass with numbers on their shirts and you pick one. A bar where women shoot ping pong balls out of their vajayjays, pull strings of razor blades out of them, or stick a whole banana up and drop out slices. A game called Smiles where a woman would go under a table and take turns going down on whoever was there. The first one to smile paid for a round. I had friends wake up while getting a tattoo with no recollection up to that point, other friends sleep with ladyboys, with or without their knowledge, and others who had no idea how many women they had intercourse with. Me and my buddy were chased out of a bar by a screaming, knife-wielding intercourse worker and nobody even looked up from their beers. Looking back, it was legitimately scary the freedom we had for debauchery. Hangover Part 2 came close, but it was still very tame compared to back then. Experience 19. Had a former U.S. Marine sergeant tell me about his crew overseas. One of them bought a flashlight and they all shared it, and all of them got chlamydia. These pricks didn't clean the damn thing before they shared it. One of my commands, I'm Army, had a be-in with some women who ran an intercourse work ring of themselves. The one woman I knew who claimed she knew what was going on, I didn't believe her for a second, but I was busy that day and didn't call bullshit on her. I was a supply sergeant, and I actually had to freaking work. Said they made about $40,000 as a group before they got caught 4 months into their deployment. Gross. I personally saw people smashing in the Porto Johns and had one of our range NCOs at Basic tell us about his jack after every firefight he would masturbate. It started in Panama for him. He called it his Panama Jack. I mean, you aren't, but why are you telling me? Later in life, I had CID close down my building for a few days, and a COL was arrested when they found his BDSM shack on our maintenance facility. I got more, but these are the ones worth writing down. The others are pretty normal smashing and cheating at work. We are nasty. Experience 20. When I was in the Colombian military, I worked with a bunch of American militaries. They would come down and always end up at the promiscuous women's houses, most of which featured underage intercourse workers. Every once in a while, an American would beat up, R-word, or kill an intercourse worker. The Department of Defense would immediately fly them out of the country so they couldn't be prosecuted. No idea if anything actually happened to them when they got back to the States, but I know that at least one of the guys that beat the crap out of a 15-year-old after she asked for her money is still active military.
We hope you enjoyed listening to today's stories. If you want to see more stories, check out these videos or check the links in the description for more videos. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And ring that notification bell.